Hi partakers, thank you so much for joining the Your Take Show this Sunday on Magic One TV. Now, the worst phase of COVID-19 has hit Uganda and we have to be extremely stringent. I know we were a bit lax for a bit of a while, but now it means we have to put on our masks without ceasing. Just maintain the SOPs as much as you can and know that everyone is your enemy in terms of the sickness. So stay away from another person as much as you can. And that's why in this this edition of the Your Take Show, we are making it a special one that's going to be talking specifically on COVID-19 and how food can actually help us, or how we relate with food. What are the challenges that we are experiencing during this second wave of COVID-19? So first, let's talk about what should we be eating as we are trying to deal with COVID-19? What are those things that will help us boost our immunity, as everyone is talking about? What are those things that will help us fight the disease and make our bodies strong enough to fight the disease? So that in short is that we're going to be discussing the nutrients that you actually need to consider. Now, generally we should be having a balanced diet, and we'll be talking about that later on in the challenges that we're actually facing during this second wave of COVID-19. But generally have a balanced diet. That means have all the different nutrients, because all of them play a specific role in your body to maintain your body's internal and external balance as well. But there are some special nutrients that you should be looking to up, or level up, or just increase intake of. Some of these include carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates are very important during this time because everything in your body runs on energy. If you do not have energy to give, then all the processes in the body system will not be able to happen. So if you're not having carbohydrates, or if you're running away from carbohydrates during this time when you should be having energy, where is the body going to have the fuel to actually do all the work it needs to do? So don't run away from carbohydrates. Make sure you have them in your diet. They are very important. Sources of carbohydrates in our food can be sweet potatoes, can be rice, pumpkin, matoke, cassava. There are so many grains, maybe breakfast cereals like oats. So yes, we have so many different types of carbohydrates. Don't forget those as well. Then we definitely have talked about, many people have talked about this, and I know you know this by now, that we need vitamins. But which ones in specific should we be working a lot on? Vitamin C, vitamin A, and vitamin D are specifically important. In fact, if you are looking out for supplements as well to help your nutrient intake or your nutrition status improve, then those are the ones that you should be looking out for. Vitamin C, vitamin A, and vitamin D. Why are these important? Because they are the ones that promote antioxidant activity in our bodies, which actually helps you to boost your immunity. So if you don't have these to help you boost your immunity, then how are you going to fight foreign bodies such as COVID-19, the virus? So that means make sure you have vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin D included in your diet. Now, what are some of the sources of these particular vitamins? We have things like very, very bright colored fruits and vegetables. So I expect that you're having your pawpaws. I expect you are having chilies. I expect that you are having, oranges. I expect that you are having pineapples. I expect that you are having grapefruits. Just look out for the very bright color, especially if there is a hint of yellow or red or orange to those fruits, then you're going to be having a lot of these vitamins from those particular foods. So look out for those as well. Let's head into our next nutrients that we need to consider as well. We have vitamin B. Now, vitamin B is extremely important because remember the carbohydrates we talked about that provide us with the energy. Now, vitamin B's help us to metabolize those carbohydrates so that you can actually get energy out of them. Or in simple terms, vitamin B's help us to utilize those carbohydrates in the body, or process those carbohydrates in the body so that you can actually derive energy from them. So if you're eating carbohydrates and then you don't have what is supposed to help you make the energy out of those carbohydrates, then you might be wasting a lot of your time. So make sure you have a lot of vitamin B's. Where you can get these oats, you can get them from whole grains. That means you're looking out for brown rice, red rice, you're looking out for sorghum, you're looking out for millet, you're looking out for that which is not highly processed or highly refined, or in the white form. So yes, those are some of the, even whole wheat bread, you know, and whole wheat products have a lot of vitamin B, and those are some of the places that you should be, some of the foods that you should be incorporating in your diet as well. We also need to have protein and fat. I know this may come as a surprise, but honestly, protein and fat are carriers in your body system for all these other nutrients and different chemicals in our bodies, so that you are able to actually perform and function on an optimum level. Lastly, let's look at zinc, copper and selenium. Now these are very important minerals as well that you should be putting a lot of attention on. You need them in very trace doses or very small quantities, that means, but you definitely need to have them because they regulate the different metabolic processes in our bodies. So your body is actually able to be, let me say, for the different functions, you're able to activate those functions or switch on those functions using these particular minerals. That's zinc, that's copper, that's selenium. So you cannot run away from them. Some of the very important sources of these particular nutrients are pumpkin seeds or pumpkin itself. You'll have different other seeds as well. So just make sure you're having maybe black poppy seeds, you are having chia seeds, you know, just have a lot more of seeds and you'll have a very high quantity of this zinc, copper and selenium in your body that will help you in the fight against COVID-19. So those were some of the nutrients that you should make sure, if you haven't actually been trying to incorporate, make sure you incorporate them because they will enable your body to fight during this phase. Let's now head on into the challenges that we are actually facing during this second wave of COVID-19 when it comes to our food and our feeding. So of course, as a nutrition specialist, you know, people will come to you, people will send you concerns, people will tell you their, you know, feeding lifestyles and patterns, and you're able to, you know, discuss a few of these things and find out what actually is happening in the community. And these were some of the very major things that I found, you know, are other most popular challenges that we are facing right now, especially when the second wave of COVID-19 hit, and also some things that we should ponder on and, you know, just find a way to deal with them so that we can get through this phase, we can survive and thrive at the same time. So number one is people think that you know, you have to, now at this point in time, you have to focus on specific nutrients. So people are actually focusing on things that are going to give you, for example, vitamin C, and they're having a lot of it. So you'll find someone telling you, I'm having a lot of oranges lately. I don't even eat, you know, fatty foods anymore. I don't even eat maybe starchy foods anymore because I need to have a lot of oranges to fight COVID-19. But as you do that, you find that people are now ignoring other important nutrients that you actually need. So here's the thing. Let's not ignore any nutrient. That's why in the beginning I told you we need to have a balanced diet. So generally have a balanced diet. Yes, increase your quantities of vitamin C through your oranges, but don't have too much of them that you don't have space for other nutrients. Because all the nutrients in our body, in our food system, actually are there for a reason, and the body requires each one of them. So here's the second thing that has been observed as well. There's been an increased intake of particular nutrients. So people are taking a lot more vitamin C, people are taking a lot more vitamin D, you know, people are taking a lot more vitamin A foods, which is good because your body needs that right now. But we are, at some point, some people are actually increasing the intake so high that the concentrations in the body system are very high and they become toxic to your body instead. So at the end of the day, remember that there could be a possibility of toxicity. So you can have extra or excess vitamin A in your body that ends up becoming or turning out into a health condition or a disease that you actually need to treat. So remember that you could actually head into toxicity if you have too much of these nutrients. Have them. I'm not saying do not have any of these nutrients, have them, but make sure we're having them in optimum quantities. So don't overdo these things. So just so that you can, you know, avoid toxicity of these particular nutrients, but also so that you can avoid having undesirable side effects, because some of these nutrients are very intense and, you know, the way they work is so intense that they can actually damage some of your inner body organs. For example, someone sent in an inquiry, and we'll be discussing that in a few weeks to come, saying he actually has a lot more oranges these days and he has started to feel, you know, epigastric pain. And you can tell that because of all that, acid, ascorbic acid that comes from these oranges, the concentration, it's supposed to be good, but because the concentration is so much, it's now starting to injure his internal body system. So his digestive system lining, which is made of soft tissue, is starting to be injured because of so much of these nutrients. Here's another observation. So people are now panicking, and all of us, even the healthcare providers at a particular level, will be panicking because this is something unprecedented. It's something that happened, and we just never had history of it. We didn't know what to do about it. But now people are panicking, and also we end up now overbuying food. So we are stocking a lot more food in our homes, but unfortunately or sadly, the food is now going to waste. Because we were scared, we went and bought way more quantities than we actually need in the homes or can consume in the homes, especially of fresh foods, because that's what actually is very helpful at this point. But at the end of the day, food is now starting to be wasted. What am I saying here? I'm not saying don't buy food. I'm not saying don't buy enough. I'm just saying don't buy in so much bulk that you end up just throwing it out into the trash can. So buy enough that you can use. And as for panicking, just calm down. And I think what would help us best is to observe the situation. So buy your food. I'm not saying don't be prepared. Be prepared and have some dry foods in your home, but don't buy in so much bulk. The first wave came and we bought a lot of food. By the time things had improved, we were just throwing sacks of posho out into the trash can. And that was very unfortunate because there's so many other people that don't have any of this food, but we threw food out into the garbage can. So let's not have a repeat of that. Buy enough food, especially if it is fresh foods. Buy enough food that you can utilize. Thank God the retail shops are now still open, so you can still keep going and buy gradually, maybe for the week, maybe for the next 3 days, but don't buy so much in bulk because you'll end up wasting not only money but even the food that you have actually bought. So another thing we're also seeing is prices of particular items are also increasing, and that includes food items, right? So fish, recently the fish price increased. Before that it was bread, the bread price increased. Before that it was the sugar price increased. So everything is way up there, and we are still rushing now to buy all these foods because we want to make sure we have enough in our homes. Here's the last challenge that also has come with this second COVID-19 wave. Because it is way worse than what happened before or the first wave, we are seeing that people are running to do everything. They are using everything as a remedy. So even grass, I'm sure someone has gotten grass and used it and boiled it and used it as a remedy to try and just protect them from this COVID-19 virus or strengthen them against this COVID-19 virus. And I'm not against it. If anything, I am way for alternative medicine. So I'm way for steaming. I'm way for drinking natural juices, raw juices. That I think is very important at this point in time. But here's what we should be, also remembering or considering, that you might be doing something that's toxic to you if you're overdoing some of these, herbs, for example. So what should we do? Don't use a whole concoction of all these herbs at one go, because you just don't know what the effect will be on your body. So if you can, use one or two. I mean, you'll have mujaja, and then you'll have maybe guava leaves and mix and boil that and steam that, and that will help decongest your airways. That would help you, get that relief. But don't go now mixing, 10 herbs all at once, because it might again become so intense for you that, your body cannot handle it and you're injuring your inner body organs again. So what we should do is, just do it moderately. Let's have a balance. Use alternative medicine, but use it in moderation. And be careful, not to use everything all at once. And then when you notice that something is actually giving you relief, that's the one you retain. If you notice that something is actually not giving you any relief, let it go. Don't just, because everyone else is using this, I will use it. So those were the challenges that I have interacted with people, and they have spoken about on, this second wave of COVID-19 that I thought were really important for us to discuss. Let me know what you think, and what you think we should be discussing as well. The discussion continues on my social media platforms, including Facebook. On Facebook, we have that very engaging community that you would definitely love to be a part of. Facebook page name is Amanda Twevas, a nutritionist. On Instagram, my handle is Food Witness. On WhatsApp, the number is 0782 0152610. You can definitely communicate with me via there as well. So now we're going to go into what are the opportunities that we can actually derive from this second wave of COVID-19. Like they say, every dark cloud has a silver lining. So let's look out for the positives now, and what are the opportunities we can actually grab in the food world. So I think first and foremost, with such a pandemic and with all the challenges that it has brought upon us, especially to our pockets, you know, to our welfare, to our dependents, you know, it's just hit so bad when it comes to financials and the economy. So I think the first opportunity that we should take during this second wave of COVID-19 is to learn how to budget and to plan. You know, this should be an opportunity for us to say, you know what, we used to have probably 5 meals a day before, but probably we were overeating instead. We were just, you know, fueling obesity. Maybe, you know, we can actually scale it down to 3 meals a day as long as they are very nutritious, you know. And then it doesn't have to be chicken every single day. I mean, if I'm going to get the same nutrient from chicken and the same nutrient from mukene, why can't I have chicken today and tomorrow I'll have mukene? It will help my pockets smile for longer, and through this very uncertain phase, you know, you'll be more secure in that. So let's learn about budgeting. Let's learn to write things down, you know, just, it doesn't have to be something so sophisticated that makes you seem like you're coming from the Ministry of Finance. You just have to write a few things down and say, you know what, this week I think we shall do posho one day, we shall do rice another day, we shall do kalo, and then add some mukene somewhere and some nuts. You'll find that it's much easier to deal with the uncertainty of this time. The second opportunity that I see we should, you know, take advantage of during this period is the opportunity to actually create a self-sustainable home. This period, this corona pandemic or heat, is what has actually taught us that if your home has, you know, a way of sustaining itself, or a way of keeping things running no matter what is happening on the outside, or no matter what the factors are outside your fence or outside your homestead, then you might be able to survive no matter what the circumstances. So what do I mean when I talk about a more self-sustainable home? I mean, have some, you know, green that you have grown, have some fruits that you are growing, have some, you know, vegetables. I recently got some kale and spinach, and it's one little plant, but it's actually feeding my family. And so I don't have to go to the market to buy those things. If the worst came to the worst, I would know that I have a vegetable in my compound. So really, it's about, you know, how does this particular system of the home feed into another system of the home to make sure the rest of the home is actually still at least at the minimum, at the bare minimum, on survival mode. So another example is you might want to be getting your kitchen waste and not throwing it in the trash can or pouring it in the trash can, but actually composting it, you know, so that you can actually have fertilizer for whatever you're going to grow. This is also an opportunity to learn a new skill. I mean baking, I mean farming, I mean, you know, tending to animals. It's an opportunity for us to learn a new skill so that by the time you get out of this phase, you're actually a more well-rounded person, and self-development has actually been catered to as well. I also think it's an opportunity to plan and set up systems for other sources of income. It's very important that you don't have one source of income. It's very important that you have different sources of income, so that if this fails or if the pandemic has totally, you know, dumped on one particular source of income, you definitely can still survive through another source of income. Let's not demean anything, even if it means you were an accountant, you know, when life was still normal, and now you have to have someone that you probably hire outside your gate to go and, you know, just roast maize and sell that for you. That's another source of income. That will assure you of milk in the house. That will assure you of some vegetables in the house. So very, very important. Another source of income or other sources of income. Lastly, it's also an opportunity for us to use what we have around us to take care and, you know, just save our loved ones. You never know what your small input might actually do for the life of another one. So, for example, I sent, when I got to learn that one of my relatives was actually COVID-19 positive, I just got mujaja from my backyard and packed it up and sent it on a border, since they were not allowing us to move, and sent it over to him, knowing that he'll be able to have some herbal tea that would help him fight this COVID-19. So this is an opportunity for you to, use what you have. It doesn't have to always be money. Use whatever you have around you and just take care of not just yourself, but your community in any way you can, or your loved ones as well. So that was the second COVID-19 wave edition of the Your Take Show. Just us talking about, what we have realized are the challenges that we are facing here in Uganda, and what are the opportunities that we can actually see through this particular season. If you did enjoy the show, I'm glad, and I would implore you to, join us again next week on Magic One TV, this very channel where you've watched this show at 6 p.m. on Sundays, and the repeat always shows at 10:40 a.m. Until next week, it's been Amanda. Bye.